In today's video, how to lose belly and chest fat while adding muscle. Hey guys, this is Paul Rebella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, I'm going to explain exactly how we can lose belly fat, lose chest fat, while also putting on muscle. And today's question comes directly from my Instagram direct message, where I love to answer your guys' questions, so send them to me. I'm gonna read it. And if you like this type of content where I explain the evidence-based approach of losing body fat, building muscle, and looking amazing, hit subscribe. How can you lose fat on your chest and belly whilst trying to put muscle on? Now, this is a topic that I think many of us come across. In fact, there are some videos online that will say things like, how do you lose belly fat in 1 week? How do you lose chest fat in 1 week? And no doubt, I'm probably gonna call this video something along those lines to get your attention, but I wanna bring you in and tell you the truth about how we actually accomplish this goal and just what it takes. And there is a 4-step process that I want to go over. And I'm going to explain every single step, and I'm also going to give you some free information, some free guides on just how to do that, which I'll put in the description box below. Let's start with the first thing, okay? No matter where you are in this process, a lot of people are going to tell you you cannot build muscle and lose body fat at the same time. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's nonsense, okay? Our bodies are capable of doing some amazing things. And when you actually start changing your lifestyle, you're gonna see that things like that happen. You can absolutely lose body fat and build muscle under certain conditions, and I'll explain what those conditions are. But when I talk about the steps, the first step is that we start adjusting our lifestyle. You see, you don't put on body fat in 1 week. And likewise, it's not gonna come off in 1 week, but you can make a significant change to your lifestyle in 1 week. And so when it comes to losing body fat, losing belly fat, losing chest fat, and putting on a bunch of muscle in 1 week, don't be ridiculous. You didn't get there in a week. You didn't get to a place where you were unhappy in a week, a month, or a year. It was a lifetime that got you there. But we can make some significant changes. And the exciting thing for us as men is that we have a huge advantage over women in this process because, well, hormonally speaking, we have more testosterone. So if you're someone who has been kind of not taking care of your nutrition, not taking care of your cardio, not sleeping well, not living a really fit lifestyle, when you start to make these changes, hormonally speaking, you're gonna see some fantastic adaptations. So step 1 is changing your lifestyle. What are those lifestyle changes? Well, I think everyone knows that it comes down to what your nutrition is set up like. Now, I have a free guide below, which is a beginner's guide to nutrition, training, and how to build muscle, and I'll add that. And if you're a little bit more advanced, I also have a free guide on flexible dieting, which explains how you can be someone who is able to eat out at restaurants and enjoy a lifestyle of looking fit while also being social and being a fairly normal member of society. So when it comes to nutrition, how do we set our nutrition up? The most important factor is that we start planning our meals ahead. The number 1 most successful trait of dieters, and you know people like this, are people that plan their meals ahead. Now, you might think of them as crazy to see that they have a Tupperware full of food in the fridge. Well, why do they do that? Because they know that when stressed or when put up against a timeline, they will eat to make energy. But if you have meals that are available, you're less likely to go to a drive-thru, eat what someone hands you, eat something in a meeting room. If you take the time to prepare, let's say, large amounts of like proteins and carbs and foods that you enjoy, put them in Tupperwares in the fridge, when it comes time to eat, you're going to go inside and grab those and eat instead of jumping in your car, going through a drive-thru, okay? This is the number 1 change in lifestyle that we have to do. We have to plan our meals ahead. We don't need to react to being hungry. We need to be proactive and have that meal set aside. Now, this is where things like protein powders can become very popular. I know a lot of people hear, well, protein shakes are important. Protein shakes do not matter in the context that you can just replace it with food. Where a protein shake has value is that it's convenient. It is low calorie, it is high protein. So in a pinch, you can get a bunch of protein. Using things like beef jerky, if you have a need for vegan proteins, you can do vegan protein powders. Having things available that are easy to grab and keep you in your calorie range are what is going to set us up for fat loss. Fat loss is all about creating an energy deficit. This balance of how many calories we take in and how many calories we burn throughout the day must be in a negative for a long period of time. But that doesn't mean you can't eat. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy life. So step 1, when it comes to losing belly fat, losing chest fat, and adding muscle is you need to approach your lifestyle different. Your lifestyle is not where it needs to be, okay? Now let's talk specifically about nutrition. What does your nutrition need to look like? The best way I can describe your nutrition is in the importance of the macronutrients. Let's start first with protein. What should your protein be? There are a lot of ways to look at protein and what would be successful, but I will say this. The most successful number I give people is to just set their protein at their goal body weight. That's right. Whatever you think your goal weight is, where you're gonna look the best, set your protein there. That is a nice baseline. From there, we're gonna start with fats. Now, the most important aspect of your daily calorie intake is that you are creating a deficit. But to figure out how many calories you should be taking in is going to require you to start having some accountability. The best way to have accountability is to simply download an app like Fat Secret. It's free, it allows you to punch in anything you eat, you track your calories for a week, you see what the scale has done, and you can understand, okay, I'm eating around this many calories. You can take the average for the week, and if your weight has been stable, well, that's about your average calories. The calorie calculators that you might find, such as the one on my website, which I'll link below. If you go to ProPhysique.com, I have a free calculator that will actually give you numbers for gaining muscle, losing body fat aggressively. These calculators are all based on calculations. Now, if you just want to start the program now and you just want to start this process, go there and you can get a calorie outline to set yourself up. Otherwise, you can do a diet recall, much like I do with my clients, so I get an actual number that is based on real world application and not just a math equation based on research in the past. But either way, you're gonna get a calorie range. Let's just say it's 2,500 calories, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna first set up our protein. Let's say you set your protein up at 150, maybe 200 grams of protein based on your goal weight, right? Well, 150 would be 600 calories. So what we wanna do with our calories now, at 2,500, is focus on the fat. I like to set fat at 25% of the daily total calories, okay? That number is a very safe number for us to make sure we're getting enough fat in. When you restrict fat, it really requires you to look at the food sources you're taking in. So if you're getting in 50, 60, 70 grams of fat a day, it's gonna require you to get your protein from leaner sources, your carbs from leaner sources. I would then take the rest of my calories in the form of carbohydrates and space them out pretty evenly throughout the day, okay? So there is your baseline for your diet. And if you want more specifics, I have a video called How to Create a Caloric Deficit. It's also in the book that I'm dropping below that is free. It gives you more specifics. It will actually give you a baseline kind of setup for macros and a meal plan. So now that we have this underway, right, we understand that nutrition is going to play an important part. Let's talk about cardio, because that can be an ugly word for many, but it doesn't have to be. A lot of us associate cardio with taking time out of our day, going to a gym, going somewhere and performing cardio and then having to come home. I like to start with lifestyle cardio. I like to look at the opportunities we have in our day to simply move more. A lot of people don't think of going outside and going for a walk as cardio, but that type of rhythmic movement that we do multiple times per day can be fantastic for weight loss. Why? Well, first of all, it's kind of a stress relief to get up out of your seat, get up, go for a walk, move around, and you can feel great about moving more throughout the day. You can also include friends, jump on phone calls, do work calls, whatever you need to do. I personally bought a treadmill for my house just for this reason, so I could walk when it's very hot in the summer and I don't want to go outside. Likewise, if you live in a climate where it's very cold, having the ability to do your cardio inside would be great. But we want to look at cardio as simply a method of burning calories. That's all I think of it as. We use our diet by restricting calories, and we use our cardio by increasing our caloric expenditure to create a deficit that our body will begin to break down adipose tissue. Now, how quickly this happens is all going to depend on how big of a deficit you create and also how much body fat you have to lose. At the beginning, when you have a lot of body fat, well, you can lose rapidly. I did a video a while back on how quickly fat loss happens, and it's pretty common to see 5, 6, even 10 pounds of body fat come off someone who's obese in a week. However, the less body fat you have to lose, the slower it's going to go. Maybe even only 1 to 2 pounds a week. But that's going to be very significant, especially the leaner you get. You're going to start to see more veins, more striations, more shape. The waistline is my favorite way to track body fat. If you are losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, then we can get in a place where you're lean and you're adding muscle. So that's how you start your cardio. I would just start with 10 to 20 minutes of walking a day. And if you're doing it outside, you can add it, make it 30, 40, even an hour a day walking outside. And when that no longer works, then you can get on a treadmill and do an incline, right? What did we do? We increased the intensity of that session. You could do things like going for a jog, going for a bike ride, getting on the elliptical, whatever you enjoy. Heck, even starting a sport. You know, some of my friends that get involved in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu really start to lose weight. Boxing, they start to really lose weight. Join a basketball league. Whatever it is that you enjoy, these are all amazing ways to lose weight through activity. But you have to be accountable to your diet. All right, so now we've talked about your lifestyle, we've talked about your nutrition, and we've talked about your cardio. So what is the final factor in this? It's going to be a resistance training program that does what? Puts muscle on your chest, okay? Because if you want to reduce the look of body fat on your chest and you want to add muscle, well, you're gonna have to get stronger. You're gonna have to get into a program that allows you to do that. Now, I've included that in my free guide below, and the beginner's guide actually has a full workout program for you as well. The goal here should be to get in the gym or get in your home workouts and get stronger, okay? If we're talking about building chest, shoulders, arms, these types of muscles, there are specific exercises around there, all right? You know, I train at home. I love my dumbbell incline presses, dumbbell flat presses. I even do decline barbell presses in my home gym. I put plates under the bench. But you see what I'm talking about is simply about adding muscle. Now, earlier I said that there are certain conditions where you can build muscle and lose body fat at the same time. I'm gonna address 3 of those right now. The first of those is being that you haven't really been resistance training ever, or you haven't really been doing it that long, okay? If you're very new to resistance training, muscle fibers are going to increase exponentially even in a caloric restriction phase. Now, if you're taking care of your diet and restricting calories, but still taking in plenty of protein, that is going to be a great way to ensure that you're able to build muscle. Well, what is the next condition that allows us to put on a significant amount of muscle while we're losing body fat? That's if you've had a long layoff from training. A lot of us go through periods in our bodybuilding lives where we kind of go into the gym for 3, 6 months, a year, really give it our all. Then things start to happen, bills pile up, you move, you have a kid, your life changes. Well, you start to skip out on some gym sessions here and there. But there's some really cool changes to our DNA when we resistance train, making it much easier to put the muscle that we had back on. So when you get back into training after a long layoff, you are going to see a rapid increase in muscle, perhaps even faster than the first time you started training and you got the newbie gains. The third and final thing that I want to mention is if you add exogenous hormones such as steroids. This is going to make this process completely different, okay? Adding steroids to a man's hormonal profile is going to basically speed this process up. And I know a lot of guys my age, some of my friends, have started doing hormone replacement therapy because they found that their hormones were kind of in the tank. Now, I, at 44 years of age, has never had to do this. However, I've paid pretty good attention to my health over the course of my life. I've been resistance training since I was 17 years old. I started competing in bodybuilding at 32. So I don't think that everyone needs to do this, but it could certainly be worth your while if we're talking about quality of life for you to go to an endocrinologist and get some hormone profiles done. And they might say, hey, you could benefit from this. It might not be something you need to do for the rest of your life. It might be something that you just need to do to get yourself that motivation to change your lifestyle, to change the way you look and feel, and put that muscle on so you can build a chest while losing chest fat and belly fat at the same time. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.